entirety of the Super Smash Bros. Community. This is Beyond the Metagame. I'm your host, Peon, this week, live from the Carl's Jr. drive-thru. I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, AV. AV, how you doing, big guy?
You are joined unwillingly by AV, because I had no input on going to this Carl's Jr., dude.
I thought this was your idea.
This was not my idea. I wanted to go to the nice sit-down Korean barbecue restaurant across the street. You dragged me in for some second-rate burgers.
Look, man, the Carl's Jr. has those chicken nuggets that are shaped like stars, and I was thinking you and I, in between our dinner, can use them as ninja stars.
I didn't know where that was going, but I'm glad it went there. And you know what? That sounds like a really great idea.
All right, hey, that's compromise, right? That's a relationship.
Yeah, I like it. I like where your head's at.
All right.
So let's get in to the countries that have joined us this week.
Yeah, man, I got some good news for you guys at home. We got 3 new countries. That's right, 3. Not 1, not 2. Unfortunately, not 4, but we'll settle for 3. We have the United Arab Emirates. We have Korea, hopefully South, and Russia. So, guys, thank you. Those are some scary ones this week.
Yeah. I mean, we got some nice, powerful countries joining us.
What a foreboding! I mean, Russia. That's a big one. That could be like we had Korea and Russia on the same week. That could be Vladimir and Kim Jong. They might have been bored Saturday night, and then they're like, hey man, you like Smash Bros podcast?
Yeah, I mean we are pretty niche. So if they were indeed thinking that, we would probably show up. So that's great to have them on board. We are apolitical, so we welcome anyone regardless of their background. This
is a global podcast, and thank you guys so much for listening from wherever you're listening. We appreciate you very much. And yeah, man, AV, I'm excited this week. You and we just returned from Genesis 6, and there's a new patch in the world of Smashland. I'm pretty excited to talk to you about both these things today. What are your thoughts going into this episode?
I think that it was a lot of fun kind of debriefing a lot of the things we learned and a lot of the experiences that we had at Genesis. It's cool that I got to enumerate them and think about a lot of the experiences I had and what I can take away from this event. And I encourage everyone else to come out to events like this. And we talk a lot about what you can get out of majors, what you can get out of your regional tournaments. I think that's something that as a listener you should pay attention to. And then at the end we touch on the changes that have come to you as a player in patch 2.0, and we go over a little bit of the Nintendo's balance philosophy and the newly minted Piranha plant.
yeah, and I invite you guys. We're going to be telling our story of what we experienced at Genesis, and I invite you guys to enjoy our stories, to kind of go along this journey with us. Kind of come to Genesis with us. In hindsight, additionally, try to take from our experience, try to learn from it. We'll talk about what we learned from Genesis and hopefully try to apply some of those lessons to your own situation at home, whether you're going to a major tournament or whether you're not going to a major tournament. AV, any last words?
No, I think that you guys should just have fun, sit back, and enjoy the ride.
So all that and more in just 1 second. Welcome back to Beyond the Metagame. This week, AV and we're back from Genesis. We're feeling, I don't know about you, AV, I'm feeling pretty tired, but also rejuvenated. I feel like my love for the game is at an all-time high. I feel very good. AV, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling awesome. Like I loved the experience of Genesis. It was everything that you hyped it up to be. I was super excited going in, really excited leaving. So yeah, just the same. Like I have no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, man, it was such a great time. Before we get too ahead of ourselves, I wanna ask you. I wanna trace our Genesis journeys a little bit here. I want to hear about. I don't know. Let's just start from the top. Like, how were you feeling right before Genesis?
Well, I got
Let's say like the day of Genesis. Like you've eaten your
yeah.
breakfast, you're at work. What are you thinking?
Well, the day of Genesis, the Friday, I actually just took Friday off. I was just really wanted to focus on the experience. So I got a ride up to Oakland, got there around 11 o'clock, and met up with you. And it was crazy because it was the first time meeting you in a really long time. So that was super fun.
That was a funny thing because I don't know if we ever said this in the show, but actually for the entire duration of BTM, me and AV had not seen each other in person. We were really great friends in college. We were homies. We'd hang out all the time. But we're not in college anymore, and we live far away. So it was kind of like a reunion. It was pretty funny. It was pretty weird to see you actually. It was really natural, but I was like, oh, there he is. There's my partner in crime.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was really funny because everyone that I met like back from where we were in college they were either said, "Wow, it's been so long," or "Wow, it feels like you've never left."
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
So
I
that
talked to you so often that it was like it really wasn't. I got used to it really quick, but it was just kind of funny. But
yeah, it was super cool. I think yeah, I want to get into like the fact that we got to play some games like really.
well, let's not get there too quick. I want to hear first
right.
about you.
Sure,
Tell
sure.
the listeners about your Thursday night.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. I was actually about to go up to Genesis on Thursday night and spend some time with everyone in Peon, but I got a flat tire. I got a flat tire. I hit some weird yellow sharp thing in the road. I think it was meant to be. I think there was something. Some destiny was fulfilled. Some timeline was altered to save my life or something. I think that's the best interpretation of it. But
Yeah.
that it's like that's the
That's
reason
rather
why.
optimistic of you. You think it was like some divine intervention, just put a yellow spike in the middle of the road?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the best way to look at it because I mean, it's not like I had a choice whether it happened to me or not. So
Yeah.
I
Either
mean,
that or like a serial killer was just like almost successful in ending your life, but you just barely got away.
so either way, it's a happy ending. So I can't like if you as long as you frame something in the weirdest way possible, you can make anything a great experience.
So you finally get to Genesis. I guess I should tell people how I got there. So I was in a carpool with a lovely group of people from my home region, and from where I'm at in California, it was only like 6 hour drive or so. But we stop at In-N-Out about like 1/3 of the way through our journey, and my driver, one of my great friends and commentary partner, Slep, looks at me and he says, "Dude, I where's my wallet?" And I'm like, "Oh no, you must have left it inside the In-N-Out, or you might have just like dropped it on the floor." So we're searching everywhere. Like it looks like we're police searching a vehicle for drugs, and no luck. We couldn't find the wallet anywhere. We looked through all of our luggage, everything. No luck whatsoever. So we, are talking. Like, what do we do? And my driver, Slab, he says, "You know what? We're gonna go back. I'm not. There's no way I'm gonna play this weekend without my wallet. I'll feel uncomfortable the whole weekend. I'll be worried about it. I won't be able to, buy anything, or if I get pulled over on the road, I won't have a license, all that." So we turn back around, and we take an epically long detour. But fortunately, his wallet was just like back at his apartment. He just never even took it with him on the trip at all. So we found the wallet, and then we turned back around and then made the journey. It ended up being like a 9 or 10 hour drive, all things considered.
That's brutal, dude. That's honestly awful. I was complaining about the 1 hour ride I had
Yeah.
from my house. So that's pretty hilarious.
That was a journey. But, I don't know, man. Like, one of the great things about the Smash community and going to these types of tournaments. It's just like spending time with the friends. You know, I feel like it's often about the journey. It's often just as much about the journey as the destination. Like, it was pretty fun to just, I don't know, it kind of feels like an adventure when you're with people.
Again, let's use our strategy. If something weird happens, just frame it differently. It builds character. That's what you can say about everything annoying, right? it builds character. It strengthens the community.
So, AV, I walk up, I kiss you right on the lips. How do you frame that?
There's nothing to frame. That's just an awesome experience.
So now let's talk about, like, you arrive Friday morning, and like, what are some things that you're seeing? Like, what was your tournament experience like?
So I remember last time you mentioned that I would be kind of starstruck, and I think that that was sort of true, although it wasn't as maybe it wasn't as exaggerated as I thought it would be. But like, it was weird just like seeing all of like the top players that I've only seen on streams in person, and like I saw literally everyone that I could ever think about seeing, and it was very strange. Yeah, and it actually it further reinforced the kind of the idea that everyone's at least to some extent on the same level, and I love that. I love that the Smash community kind of unites everyone regardless of background, regardless of like skill level. To some extent, obviously there are cliques and there are groups, but it felt like a very unifying experience, and I think that was a really, really awesome thing.
Yeah, because it was funny. Because question: did you meet anybody that had listened to BTM that like explicitly told you, "Yo, I listened to Beyond the Metagamer"? Did that happen to you at all?
I think that it only happened to me because like we met up with some people that obviously did, but it actually didn't really happen to me.
Well, I guess that is like the downside of having the audio program. You know what I mean? Like, you go to an event and then hopefully people recognize your voice, but yeah, we don't really publicize our physical appearances that often. Like, there's a very good chance that a lot of you have no idea. I mean, I've said on the show I'm a ginger, and maybe you said that you're an Indian guy. But other than that, it's like, maybe I hope in my heart of hearts that somebody saw you and I walking side by side. This is like a ginger guy, an Indian guy, and they're like, wow, the Indian guy, he sounds pretty smart, or he looks pretty smart. And then, you know, they're like, hey, what if that was the Beyond the Metagame guys?
Yeah,
do you think that happened? What are the odds that happened?
I really hope it did, and I think the next time we have to increase the odds of that happening by me rocking some BTM swag instead of just you. I think that probably helps, because I know that you should tell me about how you got approached by a few people because you were rocking that sick BTM pullover.
Yeah, I was wearing. So my girlfriend got me. She custom made me a BTM kind of like sweater pullover kind of a thing, and I was rocking it. It has my name on the back, has the podcast logo on the front, and a few different people were like, "Oh, you're like the BTM guy. I listen to your podcast sometimes." Like, I really like it, you know, or no. Thank God no one was like, "Oh, it's terrible." I know you, which actually that would have been kind of funny, but. No, yeah. So I met a lot of really nice people. A lot of people had listened to the show and were really like nice about it, which was so humbling. It's cool. I mean, honestly, Avi, I know you and I would both do this if it was just you and me speaking to the void. But it's nice to meet people face to face. Hey, what's up, bro? Like, you remember the Smash community? Oh, you like podcasts? You listen to our show? Cool, man. Like, let's play some games. You know, it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing. It can't really be understated.
Yeah. It's super cool. I won't ever take for granted how awesome it is that we even have like a decent handful of people listening to us, and I really will never get over how cool that is. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you could. It is funny. It's funny. Like, you could be listening to the entire, you know, wait, discography. What's that word? Discography.
That's a word. Yes.
You could be listening to the entire discography of Childish Gambino. Yeah, you choose to listen to this, or the Beatles, right? Well, anyway, maybe you're a man of poor taste. Maybe you just like Smash discussion. But speaking of Smash discussion, my Friday morning was pretty awesome because, you know, I gotta see you, but my pool wasn't until 4 p.m. I know yours was not until 8 p.m. And so that's kind of the weird thing about playing at majors is you wake up that Friday morning or that Saturday morning, and your pool doesn't start until like midday. Most Smash tournaments happen, like most locals happen at night, right? Like 8, 9 p.m. And that's kind of when you're used to playing. But it's kind of weird to wake up like 10 a.m. and play a tournament match, right? But mine was at 4 p.m. Wasn't too crazy, but pretty much all day until my pool, I was like trying to get in the mode, which is a little bit hard to do when you're seeing friends they haven't seen in a long time. When I'm spending time with, it's hard to both mingle and to really lock in and prepare to compete. Like, did you have an experience like that where you were struggling between socializing and like getting into the competitive mindset?
I think it was okay just because I had so much time before my pool, but that kind of was also a huge double-edged sword because my pool was so late. I ended up being really exhausted by the time that I played. Not to say that that was the reason, because I know everyone else in my pool was in the same situation, but it definitely wasn't an ideal environment for me. And I think I think that even though I did get to warm up a decent amount, I did get in that competitive mindset right before I went into my pool. In fact, like for my first few games, I felt amazing. I think it was I felt like I played like way better than I have in a while.
Oh well,
Yeah.
let's just jump into the pools because
Yeah.
let's start with yours. Yours is 8 p.m., which is after mine, but we'll start with yours since we're talking about it. Your round one, who was it? Do you remember the character?
Honestly, oh yeah, my round one, I played. I actually don't remember the character.
I do remember that you destroyed your opponent. No offense to whoever it was. I remember looking at the stocks and being like, okay, if he's doing some work, that a boy. Your round two though was Locust.
Oh yes, so that was actually my round three. So
pardon me.
Yeah. So you watched my round two. My round one. My round one, I played someone that didn't have this, like, it was like their first tournament, so it was just fun. I played Falcon game two. We had a lot of fun.
Jerk.
we had a lot of fun. At least I did.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, game two. Yeah, you saw my game two. I played DK, I think, against a Pokemon trainer. And the Pokemon trainer was pretty good, but obviously he.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was. It seemed like he was just getting into the competitive scene. But
that dude was pretty good though. Like, he seemed new, but he seemed like a dude with like a lot of raw potential. Like
right.
It's kind of fun to see people. Like, I played against this guy. Not to jump in, who it was his first ever tournament. This dude was sick. I'm like, okay, this is the next Mango. Like, this is his first tournament. But anyway, you playing the Pokemon trainer.
Right. I played the Pokemon trainer. I felt really good about the game. I had a nice mixture of aggressive and patient, which is kind of what I've tried to make my play blossom into, which is cool. And then my round three was Locust. Locust is for those that you don't know, was a top Ryu player in Smash 4. Now a Ridley player mostly.
For sure, the best Ryu of all time in Smash 4. I mean, like, his run in Civil War. He's like top 8 at the biggest tournament ever. He's beaten, what, didn't he beat Zero and Nairo at different points?
I think so. I think Trella has some contention for best Ryu. Darkshad maybe is in that conversation somewhere too. But Locust absolutely one of the best Ryus in Smash 4.
I think he was the highest rated on the all-time BGR.
Right.
So I'll give it to him.
Yeah, we'll give it to him.
And so you're up against him, and I was watching. Let me just stand in the back. So I was talking with one of our mutual friends. We were watching you, and it actually be Locust's girlfriend, and the Smash personality was watching too. And it was funny that like the three of us were all talking and watching him act. And Locust, by the way, sweet dude, just a good person. Really really nice guy, and so it's kind of fun. Like there was a little mob behind you all watching. We had like both camps respectively cheering for their side. And the first stock, AV, you were not looking good. I was like, man, Locust is about to style on my boy. It was Ridley versus Donkey Kong. And it was not looking good for you, my man. And all of a sudden, it was almost like I had an out-of-body experience. And it was like from across the venue looking at the monitor with like a scope, like a telescope. And you seem to just take this your body took like a different shape. You just became a different player. entirely. And you just started going crazy. I mean, going crazy. You want to tell them how the game one ended?
Oh yeah, that was so wild. Like I had this pretty crazy comeback where I took pretty much two stocks uncontested from being down like really far, and and it was like we were both off stage, and I think I edge guarded him to the point where he couldn't recover, but then he hits me with his up B, which kills me first. And
Yeah,
even
it
like
kills you off the top, and it
yeah,
kills him off. And but before he fell out of the bottom blast zone.
yeah.
And if that had been a star KO situation, you would have won, which is fine. Or if you even splatted on the screen.
Yeah,
There were some situations where you won that RNG, but it was not in your favor that time.
nope, not at all.
But it was crazy. And then game two, you went last stock, pretty much last hit against his Dr. Mario. You made him switch off his main, and you had a really respectable game two against the Doc.
Yeah, I was also down one stock to three, and I brought it all the way back to last stock last day, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, you got the clutch factor in Ultimate AV. I see you, man. You got that clutchness. I want some of that to rub off on me.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that obviously doesn't matter unless you get the W, but I was happy with how I played regardless of whether I got the W. Just to kind of go quickly over my experience in pools, I ended up playing a really good player from NorCal in losers, so that knocked me out of pools. However, Peon, why don't you go over your experience in pools?
Yeah, so I'm peeping the bracket. I'm peeping the bracket like the day before, the day after. Yeah, actually kind of the week prior. But it had, the bracket had been changing around a lot. Like a lot of complications happened. The whole seeding debacle happened. I don't really think we mentioned that other than last week we mentioned like the whole penguin meme. So a lot of of the brackets were rearranged last minute. And so, I did some research a couple days before my pool started, and that ended up being the finalized pool. And there was the first guy, his name was like Nola Soul. And this guy, I couldn't find any dirt on him. I was searching everywhere. I was looking on Twitter, on YouTube. I was looking on like the Smash GD profile. Like, does this guy exist? Turns out, well, right before the bracket started, right before my pool started. My pool started at 4. It was like 3:30. I get this little notification on my phone. Nola Soul has followed you on Twitter. I'm like, oh no. He found me before I found him. What else does he know about me? And so I'm looking through his profile. I'm like, this guy seems like a pretty cool dude. Turns out he was like a senior employee at Twitch. He's like a really high up in Twitch. And I was scrolling through his feed, and I made like the mistake that you just have nightmares about, where like you're scrolling through like your ex's like Instagram page or something, and you accidentally like a photo from like 2016, and you're like, oh no.
Oh no.
Well, I did that, but to one of his like ancient tweets. And then I unliked it like right away. I was like, oh no, I'm pretty sure he still gets the notification though.
Yeah.
And my Twitter's like Peon_GCE. It isn't like, like Super Dude 11. Like, I definitely showed my cards. I'm like, damn it. So we get to the first match. And I'm like, okay, do I play this cool? Do I just own up to it? And so he turns out to be the sweetest dude. He's like, hey, what's up, Peon? Hey, nice to meet you, man. I'm Nola Soul. I'm like, dude, oh yeah, I think we follow each other on Twitter now. And he's like, oh, cool. But I just owned it. I was like, yeah, man, I Twitter stalked you, man.
Yeah. He
was total homie about it. Anyway, he would tell you himself he isn't very good at the game. He was just kind of entered for fun. But he's got some potential. But I ended up beating him, and I beat my first 2 opponents. I don't remember who the second one was.
Mm-hmm.
My third opponent, however, was a great Inkling player called Commander. And Commander is an awesome Inkling out of Texas, and we did an Inkling Ditto. And both games were last stock, last hit, but he was just better than me. Like, he just had some great plays in the clutch, and just kind of, he was just the better Inkling. I don't really have like some grand thing to say about it. And then ended up having a nice little losers run in the loser side of pools, and beat a really good Cloud player, and then beat a really good Mega Man player, a matchup I have a lot of experience in. and made it out of my pool's loser side. And that was kind of my goal going into the tournament. I was like, you know what? Last year I made it out of pools. This year I want to make it out of pools. And I did so. And then immediately afterwards, me and my doubles partner, Isaiah, also made it out of doubles pools. We lost to ESAM and MVD. And that was I understand why they're so good. It was like being in between MVD and ESAM was rough, man. It was really, really rough.
Yeah, it sounds really brutal. I mean, that just sounds like kind of a cool experience, but also also kind of just kind of watching pinball at some point.
It was eye-opening. It was like we were literally carving through bracket up until that point, and then it was like one of those reminders. Okay, yeah, there's levels to this, isn't there?
Yeah.
Well, I'm nothing compared to these guys. Kind of a moment.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't enter doubles, but I love fighting a good doubles team. I think it's so much different. It's the experience of getting beat by a good doubles team, I think, is so much different than the experience of getting beat by a good singles player. In not necessarily in a better way, but it's just like it's like just as cool, and it's like a really unique experience.
Well, that's the fun thing. It's like, yeah, usually I've played against a lot of great teams in my day. Like one time, I played against Como and Leo in Smash 4 for like a long time, for quite a few games, and that was a really eye-opening experience. You know, they were probably the best doubles team of all time in Smash 4, and that was really fun. MVD and ESAM though, it was just torture. It was just MVD standing on a platform using an artillery strike and planting C4s onto ESAM, and ESAM was just zipping around, sticking it to us. I was like, stop this torture.
That sounds so cool. Like, I mean, like, because I'm not playing that, like, for me, that sounds like, from an outsider's perspective, that sounds so cool.
Dude, I know, I love watching them. When I watch them, like, these guys are a bunch of trolls, dude. These guys are sick. Playing them, it was like getting bullied at school. It was like, ESAM, you can just have $1. Get off me, dude. MVD, you can have 2, all right? Leave me alone. But it was awesome.
Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel like your singles and doubles experiences are really cool, and I think it's cool that you made out of pools in both events, and I'm glad that you met your expectations.
Although the worst part was though, at the moment that I finished doubles, our doubles pool, we're like, oh yes, we made it to day 2 in doubles. Great job, buddy. Turns out all of doubles ended that day, on Friday.
Oh, and wild! Yeah.
We didn't know that. So we went back up to the room, cracked open some brews. We started celebrating a little bit, just the two of us, talked about our matches, and kind of we're giving each other props and just kind of, bonding, hanging out. And then we're notified that our pool starts in like 30 minutes. We're like, wait, what? The pool's at 6 p.m. today? And so we rush downstairs, and then we lose our first match in round 2 of pools. Like, no! We had totally allowed ourselves to get out of like that mental, like, competitive state of mind. And it was a heartbreaker, man. It was a heartbreaker.
That's definitely a heartbreaker. Yeah. Well, I think I kind of want to take a shift to, not to like stop from talking about our games in bracket, but I want to take a shift to like all the money matches that you did and all the experience that you got playing all kinds of people.
Dude, that was okay. So one of the things that I will say to all of you and to you, AV, is that money matching people at majors, there's nothing much better in this mortal world. I've eaten some decadent food. I've seen some beautiful vistas. I've hung out with some incredible people. But there's not much better than taking the money of a stranger.
Why do I feel like you were that bully that you're talking about in high school?
You're saying I've become the ESAM/MVD?
Yeah. But I mean, that's what it looked like, man. You were running trains through like a lot of people.
Dude, I don't know what it was, but I could not lose a money match. Like a long time ago, when I was before I ever even came close to winning a tournament, I money matched the best player in my region in a Falcon Ditto. Falcon was my main. Falcon was not his main. His name is Super Sega. And he played Rosalina. And I was like, yo, Falcon did on me $5. And I destroy him. And I'm like, you see, baby? I only do well when there's money on the line. And he's like, Peon, every tournament there's money on the line. And I was so I was so far removed from from winning the tournament that I never even thought about the possibility of winning money at these tournaments.
That's so funny. Yeah, that is crazy. Like a lot of people, like if they just expect to not get top 3 at a tournament, they kind of just let the entry fee become like a. It's just they just throw it away. It's just you know what, I use it to get this awesome experience, to play friendlies with some people, to be at a cool venue, and it's like yeah, it's never about even like thinking about winning money.
Right, and that's where I was at that point in time. but anyway, ever since then in my head, I'm always like, I'm the money match king. You know, see me in a best of 5 in bracket, whatever. Put $5 on the line, hooey. And no, it was fun. It was fun. I got to play a lot of different people. I money match people from all over, from Europe, from France, from England. I mean, Europe and France or England and France are in Europe, but not to be redundant. But played people from Mexico. It was awesome. That's what's so cool about majors, that you get to play against people that you would never, ever get the chance to play normally. And put some money on the line. That just makes it more interesting.
Yeah, it definitely does. I got to play a few myself.
Can we talk about the doubles money matches?
Oh my god, that was hilarious. Yeah,
so me and AV, we don't play doubles together. Not that it's not like some political choice or something. We just don't live in the same region. But I had just seen my boy AV, haven't seen him for months, and there was like no open setups anywhere. It was day 1 of the tournament. It was Friday, and so I see these two guys playing, and I'm like, man, me and AV both want to warm up. How are we gonna get games? And I'm like, yo, doubles money match, anyone, me and AV, we will beat all of you easily. And they're like, oh, yeah, man, hey, we'll take you on. Sure, let's go. And me and AV just start running a train on these double setups, man. We were winning all sorts of cash. Our Inkling Donkey Kong team was incredible.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch too. I mean, we have never played this team comp before, and it just felt so natural for some reason. It was hilarious.
It was like, I feel like all of our months doing this podcast together like increased our double synergy. I don't know if that's like scientifically true or what, but I just felt like I understood you on a level that I otherwise shouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun too. I mean, I feel like it's like whenever you did something, you're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I love doubles. I love doubles money match people too, because it's such a homey experience. It's like we were riding or dying today, and if we win, let's go buy a cigar with our winnings. Like I don't know, I love the whole like camaraderie of it all. It was fun.
Not to take this opportunity to kind of soapbox, but I think like playing doubles is one of the best ways to like kind of integrate yourself into a community. Because like I feel like doubles is like it feels a little less serious than singles, so people aren't as bummed if you lose. I mean, some people are, but
well, there's two kinds of people, right? There's the people that are like, oh, I don't want to disappoint my partner, like I really don't want to let him down. And there's people that are like, yo, dude, let's just go kill some people. Like there's there's two types of guys.
Yeah, and I think it's a super cool way to just have some fun, warm up, and get to know someone else. So if you have a double scene, don't just kind of let it go and focus on singles. I think you're missing out on a really cool, just fun experience. You don't even have to take it competitively, even though we'd recommend that you do, because it's just a whole nother cool metagame in itself.
So I completely agree, by the way. And I want to talk about a money match you had. I remember you and I, it was pretty late. We had been wait, it must have been like 2 a.m. or something. It was late, 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was really late.
And we see Toph, the esteemed Melee commentator slash Smash Ultimate Inkling. Toph is in like from the Reeds, from Scar and Toph show. And you're like, yo, Toph, money match, man. And Toph, being the cool dude's like, yo, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yo. And so you accept it. And I'm sorry, Toph. You just destroyed Toph. Oh man, I don't even know how he was still being so nice to you at the end of the set. You just ruined his day. And he was just such a nice guy about it. He's like, wow, your Donkey Kong's really good, man. Your Donkey Kong's really good.
I mean, I will say that he made the first 2 games were really competitive. and then something changed, and then I felt like I definitely got a grip of his play style, and but I think I will say that he is really he's still a really solid Smash player. So it was very evident when I played him.
Yeah, no, he was great. He had some real great fundamentals. And yeah, it was funny. Like me and you were just on a setup with him for like an hour.
Yeah,
And Esam was there too, and we were all kind of just talking. That's kind of the fun thing about majors, is that you can genuinely make connections with people that you usually watch on streams or that you see compete. I mean, the top players in the top personalities in Smash are generally very nice people. I mean, that's no overgeneralization, but it's fun to be able to play with people that, like, we watch Toph commentate all the time, but it was cool to sit down, having a conversation with the dude. You gotta take his money. But it's cool, man. That's what I liked about it. I liked being around both a bunch of new people and a bunch of people that were familiar, yet I didn't really know them personally. Plus it was fun to meet some people that we had on the show. I know you and I talked to Max Ketchum, BTM Hall of Famer, for like 10 seconds, and we grabbed a beer with the Smash Bros cast guys, N64 Josh and Crawler. That was a great time. We had a burger and a beer with our fellow Smash podcasters. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was super fun. And then we went back to the hotel and played like 5-player Smash with items, which is honestly one of some of the most fun that I had at the tournament. Like, it's funny, you come there, like, there's Genesis, the most the premier Smash super major, and then you're up in your hotel room playing 5-person Smash with items, and it was still really fun.
Yeah,
it was so great.
Those guys are awesome. Yeah, we got to play doubles money match, not money match, but just doubles match against Crawler and Josh, the Smash Bros cast guys. It was just fun, man. It was cool to see those guys, because it's like, what a weird thing that we have in common. Like, there's like less than 10 people in the world that operate a Smash Brothers focused podcast. You know what I mean? So it's kind of fun to hang out with, like, some people that also do the very same niche thing that you do. It was cool, man. It was fun. It was really fun.
It was a lot of fun. I can't emphasize how cool they are to hang out with, and can't wait to do it again. Honestly, this is going to be, I think, once the game is developed even more, and in both of our respective podcasts have developed more, like, it's going to be it's just going to get like so much better from here. It's going to be so much fun.
So, what are your closing thoughts on Genesis? I know this was your first major ever. Was it what you expected? Did you learn anything novel about Smash or about your own play style? Like what did you gain from this experience?
So that's kind of a lot to answer. And before I do, I'm going to close it out with my last experience at Genesis.
Do it.
My last experience at Genesis was playing Conga in DK Dittos for like 2.5 hours, which made the entire experience worth it. It made it was so great. He taught me more in 2.5 hours than I learned like searching up online or like labbing by myself or doing anything. I learned so much literally just playing DK Dittos with him, that like my entire viewpoint on playing the character changed.
It's crazy. That sounds like a huge breakthrough.
Yeah, it is, and I don't mean to like exaggerate this or make it sound more extravagant than it really was.
Oh, because we never exaggerate things on Beyond the Metagame.
No, never. But it legitimately felt like one of those breakthrough moments where you figure out ways to to play a character, or options that a character has that completely nullifies weaknesses that you thought the character had in the first place. And yeah, I came really close twice. One of the games I had the cargo kill throw, and I just messed it up. Like, he was at like 140, and I just messed up the cargo throw, and he DI'd it really well and survived. But I did not win a single game. I did not take a single game against him, and I loved it. I loved the entire. I loved it. Was easily the favorite thing, my favorite experience, and it basically left Genesis on probably the highest note.
That was your favorite experience at Genesis, you'd say?
Oh, by far. I mean, obviously, like, I think it's like meeting you and having fun with you is like orthogonal to that. Like I think that's That I think hanging out with you is probably my other most fun thing at Genesis.
Okay, I
But
was gonna say like we had a shirtless embrace.
oh,
You and I,
yeah,
we danced under the starlight. We were tripping on peyote.
yeah. Did you?
in
I was
the,
gonna
in the
ask, did you
desert.
drug me? Because I don't remember. I don't remember.
Oh right, right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
okay.
meant,
We're gonna have to talk. We're gonna talk after this. But what I take away from it is, yes, it was an awesome experience. I recommend everyone do it. I did everything I set out to do. My expectations were just play and hurt, learn and have fun, and that's exactly what I went in with, and it's exactly what I came out with. I maybe that was easier than I thought it was for me, but because I generally don't have like I don't have like unreasonable expectations for myself going into these things. But because my expectations were so like growth based and learning based, I had an extremely good time, and I took away way more than I could have ever dreamed of.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely had similar takeaways. I just learned a lot, man. I got to play a lot of awesome games, and I hope that people listening to this that are like, "Oh man, that sounds like they had a great time." You know, they probably got to improve so much. Um, I do want to say that there's other ways to simulate this growth that we had. Like the growth that we had was huge because we played against. Think about it, dozens and dozens of different people from all different types of the world with different play styles. They play different characters. And that's a lot of information sponging that happens. Like you pick up a lot of things when you're exposed to that many different things. It's almost like a baby being dropped into like a multicultural laundromat, and the baby's just listening to all these different languages and cultures and opinions, and they just soak everything up. That's how I felt, but like in the Smash world, and it was beautiful. I learned a lot, and I do think that you guys can emulate this at home if you don't have the financial means or the time, or maybe you're young or old and have other obligations and you can't make that to major events. What you can do is you can go to your regional events and your local events, or you can just go online, and I want you to play as many people as you possibly can with the intent to learn, maybe the intent to win, and really really appreciate everything that you're learning in real time. Because one thing that being in a physical location with all these people does is, because everybody around you is taking it super seriously, you also do. It's just a culture thing. I mean, you're going to like get some good practice in because everybody in the entire venue is fiending, and it's awesome. But you can definitely simulate at least part of that by yourself. What do you think, AB?
I think it would be a little disingenuous to say that you can exactly simulate it, which is not what you're saying. So I'm not really disagreeing with you, but I absolutely agree that you can get a similar experience that is not too far from the truth, but is like basically good enough. Like yeah, it obviously there's nothing that can match the experience of going to one of these events, but there's stuff you can do that's in your court to go to your like sort of big regionals, play play pools, play like all day events, and that kind of trains you for something like this. Because I think jumping into a major with any expectations or any idea or without any preparation is kind of just a waste, in the sense that, not to say it's like a true waste, because it's obviously always going to be an experience, but it's easier to understand what you can get out of a big tournament if you've been to like a medium big tournament and like a medium small tournament and a small tournament. So it allows you to prioritize better, and getting more experiences and more diverse set of events attended will allow you to be better prepared for getting the most out of any situation.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Although I do think, like, I know some people in our Discord, for instance, have said like, "Oh yeah, I haven't really been to a tournament, but I know that like Super Smash Bros. The Smash Bros. Con happens right next to my house, so I'm just gonna go to that when that comes around." And I think that could also be fun. But sure, I think that if you treat this as like your Super Bowl and not as your like first ever day in the Smash scene, you will get more out of it. I think it's best to go to your local scene and then work your way up. But
Absolutely.
yeah, either way, man, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that you had fun. I know I had fun. It was a great little send off to patch 1.12? Patch 1.21. Either way, the previous patch, it was cool to kind of get some closure on that. You know, like a lot of stuff changed with my two characters, Inkling and Crom. So it was nice. Like I was a little worried that before the event they would run 2.0, and then my characters would be like, you know, a little bit different. I would have been like upset about it, like having to play like a pretty much like newly tweaked character when it matters most. And fortunately, you know, we got to close off that chapter of Smash Ultimate by playing it in the last patch. But that takes us to patch 2.0, which also dropped right before Genesis. What are your first impressions of this patch, AB?
I think Nintendo did a really good job of balancing the game. Obviously, other than the fact that they included somewhat detailed patch notes, which is a godsend. At least relative to what we usually get. I think that they did a good job of using incremental changes, using buffs over nerfs, and making changes that don't completely change the way that a character is played, and instead making changes that embrace playstyles and like are aware of how characters of like a prime directive of a character.
Yeah, I agree. It felt like nothing was changed super radically. I think they tried to get rid of the Luigi Zero to Death combo, but I don't think they realized that like now Luigi's are just doing it a slightly different way. They just like use an up air before the up B to finish it out, and so it's kind of funny. I think like it wasn't a perfect patch. I'm a little disappointed they got rid of the Crombo, like the Nair and up B, which kills Crom second. I actually, you know what? I understand. I think it's probably best for the game that they did it. I think that like that was kind of a dumb way to lose a set, is if Crom just touches you at 0 and then you die. So sure, I get it, but it's weird that they also didn't get rid of the Ike. What is it, the Ike-a-side or whatever, where he did the Nair into the up B, and then Ike pretty much does the same thing, kills himself second. That, you know, if you're gonna take out one, why don't you take out both? What's the philosophy there?
Yeah, gameplay inconsistencies are usually really are kind of troubling as a competitive player. Although I think there were just way more complaints about how it's like about how like the combo is like way more consistent. And in all honesty, yeah, I think they should get rid of it on Ike too. But that's just their choice. They probably had a good reason for it. So
I think it'll be patched out. I don't see a world where they take one out and they take both out. I feel like they just didn't know about the Ika side soon enough or something. Like now that MKLeo showcased it in top 8 of Genesis Grands, I hope they're like, oh, okay, this is just like the Crom thing. That's my theory.
Yeah, it's interesting because Nintendo always has to balance between changing a character for the casual scene and changing a character for the competitive scene, which is one of the hardest things to do as a video game developer, considering that they operate almost entirely independent of each other. I think there's like some changes that they did really well. Like I think the Luigi combos what was actually a good change, and it's okay that there's a new one, because the new one actually looks harder and it looks like a little more it looks a little more inconsistent.
Yeah, but if Luigi grabs you at 0, you shouldn't just be dead. That's just so dumb. Like, no offense to my Luigi players out there. Like, if I was your coach and you were a Luigi player, I would say use it as often as possible and enjoy it while it still exists. I'm not shaming you for using it. If I was a Luigi player, damn, would I be using that combo every single stock if I could. But it's so frustrating to get hit by. It's like, oh, I grabbed a 0. Rip.
Yeah, I think it's they had the right idea of taking it out, because I think Luigi's entire character, I don't think, is motivated by, like, when you think Luigi, you think silly and floaty and like, and he skids on the ground. He has a really high jump. He has a plunger apparently now for which is actually it's more relevant to the game that he's actually featured in, which is good. But I think that 0 to Death isn't the thing you should be thinking of when you think Luigi. At least in my opinion.
I agree. I totally agree. Like, I don't think of like Luigi as just like crazy offensive powerhouse. I think of him as like,
yeah, that Yes, that. Except I'm not going to try to try to imitate it. But,
Your imitation can only be better than mine, Davey. Did you hear that? I sounded like Waluigi got like hit in the pubic region, like pre-puberty.
Yeah, that'll only be for you'll have to pay to hear to hear.
Yeah. Just send $1 to AV's Venmo, and you'll get his Luigi impersonation as well as his lewds.
You know, I'm scared that people are actually gonna take me up on that. The former, not the latter. But I think it's.
Wait, you're not afraid that people will find your lewds?
You see, that's a funny question because that answering that question has to make me accept the premise that I have lewds.
Okay. You avoided that trap. Well done. Second question. This is not a trap whatsoever. Do you own any nude photos of yourself?
All right, so my impressions about this patch is overall, I think it's not going to affect the meta that much, but I do want to talk a little about Bowser, how Bowser's kind of seemed to get a huge suite of changes.
Yeah, well, that confused a little bit. Like, you described it as weird changes to Bowser in the show notes. Like, what do you think's weird about it?
I think the character, I guess, sort of was maybe not top tier, but it felt the character felt playable. He's fast. He has a really his flamethrower is really good. The character operates exactly how I would think that he should operate. And then they gave him a bunch of quality of life changes that were welcome, obviously, to Bowser players. But it's strange how much they did to improve his standing when there's obviously characters who maybe could have used it more.
Yeah, it's weird. It was a little disconcerting because I saw an article that Sakurai was quoted saying, I think he wrote it himself, talking about balance updates in Smash Ultimate and also like looking at some online metrics of like elite battles. He looked at the statistics of elite battles and saw like, okay, Cloud's really popular. Saw that, you know, he just listed all the different statistics that they've been keeping track of, and it seemed like a lot of the balance changes were were a direct response to what they saw in online play. So maybe Bowser just hasn't been doing well in Elite Smash. They're like, okay, that must mean he's bad. I hope that their character, you know, balancing team has a bit more of a nuanced process than that. I assume they do. But I don't know. I agree. Like, if they're going to buff one character, I wouldn't have chosen Bowser. But hey, they also buffed your boy Donkey Kong's forward air. Got buffed.
I didn't. I mean, I welcome it. I absolutely welcome it. It's not. I'm not going to say no. One thing I was really disappointed in is that they nerfed K. Rool. I don't think K. Rool is a particularly strong character. I agree that the down throw can be a little uninteractive at times, so I don't mind that was nerfed. But it's essentially a kill throw because you're only if you have even like decent mashing, you're not dying to that thing until 130 or 140%.
Yeah, K. Rool did not need to go. He did not need to die. K. Rool was a character that was buffed on Wi-Fi. First of all, a really great Wi-Fi character, not a great tournament character. I mean, we haven't seen pretty much any good player do anything with K. Rool. I mean, at least on a grand scale. I mean, he's like probably realistically mid-tier at best, but like with some gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's like Little Mac or Greninja in Smash 4 where they just nerfed the hell out of those characters for no reason. I'm kind of getting flashbacks to that again. I don't know. I really disagree with the K. Rool changes. I think that he's in a perfectly fine, maybe annoying, but balanced state.
Yeah, I mean they didn't completely change a lot of things that make K. Rool annoying, which is the strangest part. They nerfed his recovery, which I guess was annoying that he would always be able to recover from anything, but it's like because he's a heavy, it's a weird advantage to have.
Yeah.
But then they didn't really give anything back to him. They didn't make anything cooler about his personality or make anything make more sense about how his play style should be conveyed. They shortened the length of the vacuum effect on neutral B.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was playing against a K. Rool today in bracket. It was my first ever tournament in 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear, I was like, why didn't I just get sucked up? I totally feel like I should have been sucked up there. I didn't realize they shortened the range on it.
Yep. So that was interesting. I overall, other than that, I'm pretty happy with the changes. They buffed Incineroar, which is good. I think he'll be like at least a decent threat now in your local scenes, at the very least. Buffed Rosalina Luma. I mean, that's an awful matchup for DK. So personally, I'm a little mad, but the character did need a little tweaks. So for the game's health, I'm sort of happy, although the character is is not the most fun to watch.
What do you make with the whole, like, this character could now grab the ledge more quickly after using this aerial change that they did to like every single character almost?
I think it's good. It's overall all the design decisions in Ultimate are how can we speed up the game without changing any of the core gameplay elements. Like the way that knockback is coded now is that you pretty much just get front loaded. The knockbacks immediately sends you to where you should be. Every attack in the game is super easy to understand. I mean, this is obviously not in competitive. Final smashes are fast. And I feel like everything is very clear. I think that it just makes no sense to like forward air as Sheik and then not be able to grab the ledge for a second. Like that just doesn't make any sense. So I think I like that they made this really small change for people, especially casuals who don't understand like this weird lockout period that you have after using a move that you can't grab the ledge. I think it's cool that they changed a bunch of moves to basically make the game just feel better overall.
Yeah, you know, the way that you said that really cleared up for me. I agree. At first, I was kind of indifferent about the change, but yeah, you're right. I do think that like that little buffer period between like using any button and then not being able to grab the ledge, it's kind of weird, and I'm glad they shortened that for a lot of stuff. That is a good change. But man, we haven't even talked about the main offender, man. The big highlight of the patch, the clickbait, the thumbnail for all the videos this week. Piranha Plant has joined the squad, man. He is a playable character now. First time I played him, I live streamed my push to Elite Smash with him. I think I just won like 2 games, and then it put me. It was. I don't think the climb was very hard. Probably because people hadn't played the character quite yet, so there wasn't that wasn't much competition. That said, what an interesting character. I think Piranha Plant is super wacky, super fun. I think he's a great addition to the game in terms of like gameplay variety. He's kind of like a setup, kind of trap character. Like does a lot of weird, crafty, inventive stuff with a huge potential payoff. And you know, it takes an intelligent mind to really get the most out of Piranha Plant. I think like you kind of have to. You don't. It isn't just like Piranha Plant hits you and you take 1,000,000 damage. Like you have to kind of be smart about the way you set things up. Get people into your poison cloud. You know. Use your long range to kind of pounce on opponents unexpectedly. He's a really weird, cool character, man. I like him.
I think you've just set me up perfectly to be the bad guy here, because I think you share my opinion in that the character is really bad. I think the character is very telegraphed. A lot of the things that it's going to do are not surprising once you figure it out. Like down smash, maybe it'll surprise you that it has super armor the first few times. Sorry, not down smash. Down B. The one where the plant extends really far. It'll surprise you the first few times. You're probably not going to get hit by it unless they're doing like a weird off stage combo with it, which are I will concede those are really cool. I think that the character lacks decent approach options. The character lacks a good neutral. The character's best kill setup is off of a down air, which, as we know, there's a character called Captain Falcon who is in a similar position that has better mobility and is also really bad. So I think the character requires a lot of changes. I'm waiting to be proved wrong by a pro Piranha Plant player, but I don't think it's going to be because the character's good. It's going to be because the player's good.
And Falcon player too, by the way. I'm totally willing to concede that Falcon's a great character. The moment like Fatality proves it. Honestly, it'll take more than just Fatality for me. It'll take like Fatality and one other guy to get good results with Falcon. Then I'll be like, okay, maybe there's something to it. But yeah, I agree. I think Fatality, or not Fatality, I think Falcon and Piranha Plant are both bad, unfortunately. And I just think Piranha Plant in this game, like in a game where swords are so good, I feel like Piranha Plant is just the perfect candidate for a character that's going to get destroyed by swords. Like, if you rush him down, he gets scared. He has range, but only like laggy range, like only like predetermined range, predestined range. And I mean, like, he has moves that can cover great distances, but you have to set them up. Like, think about his neutral B, think about his down B. He has range, but it's telegraphed. Whereas like swordies can really just do a lot of damage from pretty far away, and that's kind of like exactly where Piranha Plant's dead zone is like that swordy distance. So I don't know, man. I think that this plant is destined to be low tier.
Yeah, I agree. Unless they make some considerable changes to the character, I don't see the mobility outside of a bunch of top players picking the plant up as a troll, like consensus mafia decision to increase its place on the tier list to just freaking wrong, which I would be I would be elated. That would be hilarious. But
yeah, if a Piranha Plant wins a major, I'll be hyped. I'll be hyped. I do think the character's cool. I think, especially for a casual perspective, this character is awesome. Like, they really nailed, like Piranha Plant feels more like a Piranha Plant than Mario feels like Mario. Like, when I play Piranha Plant, I'm playing as a Piranha Plant. When I play as Mario, I'm like some weird like fire bender from Avatar: Last Airbender.
A firebender that shoots water.
Yeah. He's like one half of the Avatar.
Yeah, that's really
actually
that's really
the cape you could say the cape's airbending. He just needs to like throw rocks around.
Absolutely, man. The spike is the earth bending. I don't know.
All right, yeah. Hey, set him down. But but yeah, like, you know what I mean. Like, I really feel like they nailed the character of Piranha Plant. Like, I didn't even know that Piranha Plant had a character until like today.
Yeah, as far as developing a character and succeeding on bringing life to something that we would have never expected, absolute success.
Sakurai could make my own mother a fun playable fighter, like Peon's mom, and everybody would be like, "Yeah, this feels exactly like how Peon's mom should play." I guarantee people would say that. Like, these guys are amazing.
Yeah, everyone would know that, huh?
Oh, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but Sakurai's magic. He'll figure a way to communicate. Like, oh yeah, dude, this definitely feels like the mother of a Smash podcast host, for sure.
Definitely, man. But in any case, I think we've come to the end of our discussion about the patch and our Genesis breakdown. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close out the section?
Yeah, my impressions of the patch. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it was the best patch that Nintendo maybe ever has done for Smash, and I love that they did the patch notes. That was a huge bright note in terms of what that might imply for the competitive-minded player going forward. Is that I don't think that these patches are going to be drastic. If you're worried that your character is going to be drastically buffed or drastically nerfed, I think that this patch sets the precedent where they're going to be taking things with caution. It didn't seem like a very reactionary patch beyond just the K rule nerf. Other than that, it seemed like every single or most of the tunes that changes they made were in line with what makes sense. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy about it. I'm looking forward to what they change in the future. They definitely could add some more stuff, some more quality life stuff in the future, like such as turning hazards on and off in the stage select screens, little small stuff like that. Maybe some additional modes and stuff like that. I'd love to see patched in the future. But I'm optimistic about the future of Smash patches and the meta in 2.0.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. It's going to be real fun going into this kind of next chapter of the competitive scene. That being said, we have some questions for us to answer from our Discord. And Peon, you want to throw out the first one?
Yes, sir. So we got a question from Ulti Mutt. Since Peon mentioned the idea of picking a character that masks your weaknesses and magnifies your strengths, what are your guys' thoughts on picking a secondary, or at least picking up a pocket character that exposes your weaknesses?
I think this is more or less exactly what a secondary is supposed to do. I think a secondary is supposed to say, "Hey, I have this huge weakness in either my gameplay or my character that that is huge to the point that some matchups or some playstyle matchups are just unnecessarily hard." And a secondary, the place of a secondary is to kind of apply a band-aid solution to that. I think in Ultimate, it's hard to say whether or not that's going to be the meta, just having two characters. Obviously, we saw during this Genesis weekend that MKLeo, the kind of obvious contender for one of the best players in the world, used both Ike and Lucina. Does this mean that either his Ike or Lucina is a band-aid solution? I'd say no. I think both characters provide their own strengths and weaknesses, and because he's such an excellent player, it's more the fact that he's able to utilize different things of these characters in different matchups. That being said, often the case of a mid or low level player is that they use a character to band-aid to stuff about their play style that they can change. Obviously, this is not always the case, but I just encourage you to think about, like, truly figure out whether that is the case. And if it isn't, and you just are more comfortable using certain characters in other matchups, go for it. I think that's totally cool, and it's awesome to kind of expose yourself and kind of show your weaknesses of your character and your playstyle by picking up another character.
Yeah, man. Couldn't have said it better.
Cool. All right. Ark asks, who's Derek?
So Derek, great question from Mark. Derek is very much like DreamWorks Shrek, the character, not the movie. Very much like Shrek, but he's blue. And he's kind of the mascot of Beyond the Metagame. He represents everything that Beyond the Metagame represents. Happiness, joy,
Barrel-aged beer.
Barrel-aged beer.
Margaritas, pour over coffee.
Yeah, everything good, everything that one could enjoy, it all comes back to Derek. He's the common denominator, if you will, between all things pleasant.
Yeah, Cosmos Carl Sagan was inspired by Derek. Lots of...
Oh, I don't know why that one got me. I like the idea that, like, Carl Sagan was just he was just looking out at the cosmos, and he was like, "Man, dude, you've seen Shrek, right, guys?" I'll write a book. But yeah, Ark, thank you so much for the question, man. I hope that answered it for you. Our third question is actually from Derek. Derek asks, "AV, what are you wearing, and what is your least favorite flavor of ice cream?"
All right, the answer is nothing but my pajamas. And my least favorite flavor of ice cream would have to be the guilt of my exorcised family.
What? I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to Baskin Robbins in a while. Is that one of the 23?
It should be. I don't know.
What's wrong with your family? What kind of dark scenario are you painting over there, AV?
I don't know. I feel like it would be just like weird if I said like Rocky
Starbucks.
Road. Like we're like, it's like I hate closed-ended questions. Like, what is your favorite? Like what? It's like I feel like Derek needs to step his game up in asking more open-ended questions that we can kind of think about. Because then, I mean, if there was a flavor, and if my family did go through multiple exorcisms, like I feel like that would be something to talk about. So
exorcised as in had an exorcism committed upon them, not like they had just lifted some dumbbells.
Yeah, an exorcism, like
no, I'm with you. I know what an exorcism is.
Moving demons, yeah.
That's just not what I was. I guarantee. I guarantee 1% of the audience was like, "Yeah, he's talking about exorcisms."
All right. Well,
is Derek like are you suggesting that Derek is like some sort of unholy specter?
That may be the case. We cannot confirm nor deny that. as he is the mascot of VTM, and he's ever changing, just as we always change with our introspection and asking ourselves who we are. Well, that being said,
if I've ever heard an appropriate time to end a podcast, I think it's right now. Maybe. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening this week. Happy that you're able to tune in, hear our Genesis story, as well as hear our thoughts on the patch. It was a lot of fun talking with you about this, Abhi.
Yeah, it was super fun. So where can people find you on social media?
Yes, sir. You can find me at Peon, PEON _GCE. That's Golf Charlie Echo for all you Catholics. And you can, of course, find our show at Beyond Metagame, not Beyond the Metagame. You see, Twitter left us no room for the.
Yeah, and people can find me at A plus Vaidyanatha, my very reasonable and pronounceable Indian last name.
All right, guys. With that, it brings us to the end of the show. As always, thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.